This is The Spot, a BYU-Idaho radio production where we talk about what you're talking about at BYU-Idaho. Today's hosts are me, McKenna Davies,
John Villarreal,
Celeste Simmons,
and special guest,
John Swain.
The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university and are solely the opinions of the hosts. We're so happy to be here live in the Crossroads on campus today. Just a little introduction. This is the Spot podcast. The QR code is up on the screen if you want to scan it. That way you can follow us on all major platforms, podcasting platforms. And really we talk about anything that interests us, college students. So we've done episodes about ChatGPT, and we've done episodes on social media and how we feel about it. But today we're talking about dating. Woo, because this is BYU-Idaho after all. So we're going to be going through our thoughts about dating apps, red flags, and ideal first dates. So we'll hit just about every topic with dating. To start though, we want to get to know our audience a little bit. So if you're here in the Crossroads, we're going to do a little Kahoot. So pull out your phones and we want to get to know you guys.
Yes, so this Kahoot is basically, there's a lot of polls, so we kind of want to see what you guys are doing in regards to dating here at BYU-Idaho. When you click on your answer, it's going to have a true or false, but there's no true or false. We just couldn't I didn't want to pay to do the poll. So if you want to just enter in this not QR code, but the code for Kahoot, and then we can kind of see what you guys are thinking here at BYU-Idaho about dating.
all these fake names. No one's gonna.
Yeah, put a fun name in.
Don't worry, guys. The questions won't be too controversial.
Yeah, there's only 5 simple questions.
Yeah, it is BYU-Idaho after all. Tiger Woods, Levi,
Ken's
Econ.
sixth man. Okay, any last people want to join the Kahoot? I'll give it 5 seconds. Oh, Dane Woods. Okay, we're gonna start it. Dating. All right, here is our first question. So really there's no right answer, like Celeste said. Have you used Mutual?
True is yes and false is no. Seven people.
Okay, wow,
Okay.
almost 50-50.
Yeah. I feel like 7 people are lying. They're
We'll
just
talk more about Mutual. We'll talk more about Mutual later. Okay, question 2. Do you use other dating apps besides Mutual? Tinder, Bumble?
Upward.
Whoa, very fast answers. Okay, most people don't, but some people do. Did you meet your current partner on Mutual? So if you're married or dating someone, did you meet on Mutual? We're waiting for one person. Okay, a few of you. Wow. It says 4 people met their current partner on Mutual. Okay, what is an ideal first date?
This is just opinion based, of course.
See a movie, go on a hike, get ice cream, or a picnic.
We will judge you for your choices. No,
We will talk more about first dates too. Okay, most people said get ice cream. Very simple date.
I'm glad no one put see a movie because that is a horrible first date idea. Can't talk.
Okay, last question. When is the right time to DTR or define the relationship? At 1 week, after 2 weeks, after 1 month, or after 2 months?
You gotta do it 2 weeks. You tell them God told you.
Okay, 9 people said after 1 month, 4 people said at 1 week, 1 person said after 2 weeks, and 3 people said after 2 months.
At 1 week. It's funny, like the red one's the right answer. I mean, it's not the right answer, but it's marked as
After 1 week.
after
correct.
1 week, you know.
Awesome. Okay, thanks everyone for participating in our Kahoot. So we want to start by talking about BYU-Idaho's dating culture. So obviously it is nicknamed BYU-Idaho, and so dating is really big here in Rexburg and at the school. So how do you guys feel about the dating culture here at BYU-Idaho? Do you find it good that it's so big or bad?
So I'm from Texas, but when I came here to school a while back, it was very different. The dating scene was very peculiar. I learned a lot of new slang when it comes to dating, and I learned a lot of new weird things that people do, the whole 2 weeks, like God told me to marry you type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I think there are some negatives to it. I think sometimes people feel really pressured. They feel bad because they're 23 and not married, when in reality that's still super young. But I'm also from a place where dating isn't super popular because there's not a lot of members of the church. So I think it's fun to, go on dates and have people that want to go on dates with you. So there's definitely pros and cons.
Yeah, so I've never been in a place where dating culture is so big. And for me, it is a lot of pressure. I feel like a lot of other people are pressured, but I feel like it's welcomed here because how friendly it is. A lot of people have the same backgrounds and stuff like that. But I feel like people get distracted with what they came here to do, which is graduate with a degree.
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed, so I'm married actually now. I didn't meet my husband here. We met at FSY, actually, another great place to meet someone. But I did enjoy, when I was dating, how many opportunities there were to date and how many different activities you could do for dates here. So I think campus is a great resource, and because you're in classes and it's just so social here, I did feel like I met a lot of friends and potential people to date. I also think that, because I grew up in Missouri and dating, was different there than here for sure. But group dates are also more common here. So they can be like really laid back and chill, more of just a friend thing. And so I did appreciate that about the dating culture here. But I do see how it can feel a little rushed, because I know like a lot of my best friends all got married before me and started having kids. And I'm like, wait, I felt that pressure. But really, I'm 23, so still so young. Okay, we've talked a little bit about Mutual through the Kahoot, but what are your guys' thoughts on Mutual?
I thought it was pretty interesting, and eventually I jumped on the bandwagon like everyone else, tried it out. And if you're not in Utah or Idaho, there's really nobody. You swipe a little bit and then it's like, oh, you got to expand your search. You do kind of have to be in a place where there's a lot of members for it to be. But I think overall it's a good thing. I've known a lot of friends who've met their spouses on Mutual. Have any of you used Mutual? You can share that too if you want.
I do not use Mutual because I have a boyfriend, so that would be bad.
Have you in the past?
But I did have it for a week when I came home from my mission. It was during COVID, so I wasn't like making any friends or anything, and I wanted to meet people. So I got Mutual for about a week, but I felt really bad just like swiping on people because I wasn't actually knowing them. I was just like, oh, he's either cute or he's not cute. And that made me feel like a really bad person. So I just ended up deleting it because then, I don't know, then I just met people in real life. And I think for me and my personality, it just felt more genuine and nice and real. But I know a lot of people that have met on Mutual and they're great matches, so it can definitely work for people.
Using any dating app around here, I feel like it's the same. You're going to get those quality, faithful LDS members, and I feel like it's just no difference with the dating app. Of course, I've used it, though. I mean, it's a great way to meet people. I feel like it's awkward. I mean, like as a LDS member, how else are you going to meet people other than this university? We're not going out to bars or anything like that. So it fosters a great way to meet people.
There is good old LDS tools. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke.
Yeah, there's always wars and FHE nights and stuff like that. Yeah, but ultimately, I had a conversation with someone, and I felt like, as great as these, dating apps are, I feel like if you don't use them, God's got you, right? Like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. You're going to find that person that you are most compatible with and eventually love and marry and start a family with.
Right. whether it be in this life or in the next one, right?
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully this life. I don't know if I have time for the next life.
Well, I think it's cool because like when you ask couples, oh, how did you meet? The story is always different, right? It's never the same. So that's so true that if you don't meet on Mutual, there are so many other places to meet. I've actually never used Mutual, but I almost did right before I met my husband. I was like, okay, I'm not really meeting people that I felt like were quote unquote my type. Just meaning like we didn't really have a lot of the same interests. So I'm like, well, at least on Mutual, I could read people's bio and kind of get a feel for what they're into or things like that.
So what do you mean that you almost use Mutual? Like, did you download it?
Like we gave into temptation. She's like, I was almost like y'all, but I rose above it. You know what I mean? Like you think you're better than us?
So I was kind of dating someone, ended it, and then I went to FSY and I was like, okay, after FSY, I'll download Mutual. But then that's where I met my husband, so we're all good. Okay, so Mutual can sometimes bring up what we call red flags, but also green flags. So for me, a red flag, back when I was dating, I think a big red flag for me was when the person didn't want to commit or put a title on the relationship, but wanted all of the benefits of a relationship. That was a red flag for me. What are some red flags for you guys?
Astrology. So, I feel like I met this one girl, beautiful girl, and then the first thing she started talking to me about was, oh, I'm a Cancer, and what's your rising moon, and this and that. And I was like, I don't know. And like the thing is, like, I think it's great. Astrology is a great psychological thing to be like aspired to because you read it and it's mostly positive and you want to be like that. But I think when you actually start believing in it and you start kind of discriminating people on their star signs, I call them what's it called, space racist. It's like, oh, I like you and everything, but you're a Leo, so we can never be. So I just think it's funny. But
Fair enough. What else?
Yeah, to each their own. Yeah, I think some red flags for me are like, obviously like some spiritual things, because I like that I'm a member of the church, and so I want someone that's also a member of the church and like active and stuff. So if they're not, I don't know if it's like a red flag, but I'm just not interested. I don't know. I just feel like it's the obvious things. Also, another thing is like how they are with their family, and like the girls in their family and their mom and stuff. To me, that shows that they respect women and they can have a relationship with a woman and like think that they're equal and everything. So to me, that means a lot. It shows a lot about their character.
Yeah. So I don't have many red flags, but the few that pop up would be, I'm sorry, McKenna, is DTRing way too soon.
Oh, yeah,
like
we talked about
first date too soon. Even that first week, I know a lot of you, 4 of you, said that the first week is a good time to DTR. I disagree. So that's one of them. And another is like when people just don't realize that, one, we're all in this world together, right? And no one's perfect. So, of course, I've sinned before. I've also repented. But when that person is, quote unquote, like a super Mormon and just really judgy, that's a huge red flag for me.
I have another red flag, and this one's kind of random, but I've seen it in people that I've dated. But if they are my age, I'm 23, and they are like trying to pursue dating, but they have Snapchat streaks. I don't know, that's so random. But I'm like, why are you keeping streaks with all these people? Like, I want you to pursue me, not other random people that you might not even know. So that's one for
And
me.
Sometimes other girls too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, no, just Snapchat me. Or don't Snapchat anyone at all. I don't know.
I think when it comes to like another red flag of mine is like, I think John touched a little bit on it, and so did Celeste, is like the morals and values of people, even if like they're in the same, like in they're LDS members, like sometimes they'll talk a certain way, or they'll have certain beliefs and values that aren't not just shallow based or trendy or something, but they actually believe and that are totally against the gospel. Like they're just pretty like that's a big turnoff for me, because I always think long term. I'm like, oh well, if I want to have kids with this person down the road, if I get married with them, like what type of values and morals are they gonna teach to our children?
Yeah, that's true. So kind of going along with that, what are some green flags with dating?
One for me, there's so many, but education. I think if they're like passionate about what they're studying and they like want to get good grades and stuff and like excel in school, that's something that's a green flag for me because it shows that they care about school and like they're responsible. Or if they're not into school, then, you know, be passionate and try to be good at whatever they want to do in life.
I think for me, like, I know I joke a lot, but for me, like, a green flag in today's dating culture, in today's hectic society, is like if she's feminine and she's has a good personality, good sense of humor. She's not like bitter and resentful, and you know.
I think a big one for me is that they're a good communicator. Communication is super important to me, and I'm studying it, so it's even more important since I've like learned different ways to communicate. So that's a big one for me. I know with when I was dating my husband, we had a lot of conversations like that, just talking about how we communicate our feelings and emotions and things like that so that we could understand each other better, and then keeping that line of communication always open.
So I feel like building up my profile with this, but, you know, have many green flags as well. Yeah, I love a person who's adventurous, willing to hang on the beach all day pretty much.
Yes,
but
nice.
I gotta say I love a person who's like independent, someone that got their own. I mean, we of course are going to be as one as we marry, but it's important to learn how to be independent and do for yourself, and then, you know, you can share those skills with your partner once that time comes around to get married.
Definitely. John did mention earlier, so we have two Johns, not to be confusing. John on the end mentioned DTRs, or determine the relationship. I had a conversation with him previously about my opinion with DTR. I said they should happen often and early, but not necessarily the kind of DTR that's like, okay, let's start dating, but just the where are we at, what are your goals, what's your expectation, that kind of DTR. But we want to involve all of you, so I'm going to have John in the pink go up to the edge of the stage, maybe out to the audience, because we want to get your guys' opinions on when is the right time to DTR. So when do you guys think?
It's time for some feedback. Don't run away now.
Sir, can I ask you a question? When do you think is a good time to DTR? You know, to define the relationship.
I would say about a month. A month would be like, a safe time frame for most people.
Nice, thank you.
I agree with that.
Anyone else? You can come up closer to the stage too if you want to comment.
Explore that area, John. I think you can.
Anybody? What about you, ma'am? You with the eyes. What is your opinion on defining the relationship?
I really liked what you guys said about doing it often. You can be like, well, you can be dating someone, but dating someone is different. Like going on a date is different than steady dating. So like steady dating, I feel is like boyfriend, girlfriend. And are you guys familiar with the book, How to Avoid Falling in Love with a Jerk? Yep. Yeah, it's great. I took a course on that this semester, and I read it recently. And one of the things it talks about from when you really need to make a decision on commitment is it should be at least 3 months, because 3 months is the amount of time it takes for people to really get to know each other and bring their walls down. So if you're in a steady dating relationship for 3 months, if you want to like maybe move to, maybe we should be engaged, you should wait at least 3 months to figure that out. Like that's a really important barrier, is the 3 month mark for like something in a relationship.
That's super interesting. Thanks for bringing up that book and what you learned from it. The 3 month mark is good. Let's do one more question. Where is the best place to DTR on campus? Does anyone have a place?
How about you? Grew up with the Chick-fil-A. What would you say is the best place to define the relationship on campus, or like, you know, in general?
Or in Rexburg.
Church.
Simple, straight to the point, you know.
Church.
You have the spirits there so you can testify the
Honestly,
truthfulness.
I think it should be maybe like where you've had significant moments together. So maybe if your first date was on campus, then you could go back to that place. But I think that kind of DTR almost makes it sound like it's the like asking the person to be your boyfriend or girlfriend.
So I feel like, that comment, DTR in a church, you're kind of holding them accountable to be honest with you. At that point,
you're in the
it's
church,
like,
you can't lie.
God's watching, so make sure you're honest with me. The only thing I have a problem with DTR too soon is like, I feel like I need to know the person. I need to get to know the person. And 1 week, 2 weeks is not enough. It takes you like 3 weeks or 3 months to get used to anything really that's new. So I feel like it takes that much time to DTR a relationship.
I like what that one girl said about, having that 3-month buffer before taking the next step in a relationship. Like say someone wants to get engaged, like, oh, well, get to know them for 3 months. Because I also heard something where it's like, oh, during any relationship, the first 3 months is like the honeymoon phase. They're perfect around you. They want to put the best foot forward. So they're not like the normal selves. Like they're just, like the exemplar, best self of them. But after 3 months, they may get comfortable and they might be not the same person,
I just want to bring up some comments that our coworker Candy Zalale brought up about DTRing. And she says that if someone doesn't want to DTR, you got to find someone who will. I don't know how you guys feel about that. She also mentioned that a lot of people will create a status in dating called talking. Like if you ask someone, oh, are you seeing anyone? Or they say, yeah, I'm talking to someone. What is that exactly?
It's like
what is talking to someone? Because you can talk to someone every day.
Yeah, I talk to lots of people a day.
That's what it's all semantics at this point. I think because I remember talking to this one girl and she's like, well, I'm talking to someone. I was like, okay.
And that's like exclusive. Right.
That's like, I was like, what does that mean? No, I told her, I was pushing on her. I was like, what do you mean? Are you boyfriend, girlfriend? Like, well, no, but we've been on a couple dates. And I was like, but that's not exclusive. Unless you explicitly said, we are boyfriend and girlfriend, it's still, you're just dating, or you're just like, it's kind of a situationship. Like, what are we? You're not, you know what I mean? But
yeah, like it's probably just better to say, oh, I'm not interested, rather than saying I'm talking to someone. But I've totally done that too. Like when I was dating, I totally said that. So, but I get where Candy, our coworker, is coming from and what John is saying. That it's kind of a weird stage of dating that we've created. Because really, they should just say they're dating.
It's called like the situationship, right? Like you don't know what you are. Like
yeah, situationship. I feel like a lot of people probably feel insecure to say dating, because what if the person that you're going on dates with doesn't say dating, and then you feel kind of like crazy for saying that you're dating when you are going on dates. But I think just in this generation, it's talking.
Yeah,
like, I don't know. It's just
talking.
the phrase.
Also, I think a lot of people put too much pressure on like dating, especially like the first date, because like I feel like when you ask someone out on the first date, some people think like, oh, this means like we're gonna get married or commitment, and they're like, I was like, no, it's just a first date. It's just to get to know you, and it's like, and if it doesn't work out, au revoir.
No, in my opinion, it goes back to what you were saying, McKenna, in the beginning. I feel like people who rely on that I'm talking to someone status or phase, they have some commitment issues. It's like, just say you're dating this person or not.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that John brought up first dates a little bit, because we do have a little soundbite I'm going to play, and then we can talk about some good first date ideas for those who are wanting to go on more dates or are kind of running out of ideas. So we'll start with a soundbite from some students on campus.
Well, for a first date, I really feel like it needs to be, short and sweet, like a solid 2 hours, 2 hour commitment, and you need to talk a lot with the person, get to know them. So I would say some fun first date ideas is go on like a tandem bike ride. That'd be pretty hype. Go get food, just a restaurant, dinner date. That's always fun. Or just go to the park and hang out, something simple.
Yeah, so he talked about doing simple things, keeping the date to like 2 hours. And he mentioned like tandem bike riding, going out to eat, those kinds of things. I will actually disagree with him and say that I never liked food dates as a first date, because for some reason it made me so nervous to know what to order, especially if I didn't know the restaurant. And also I just had bad experiences where one time I went on a sushi date, but the sushi was like so big, I just couldn't eat it in a polite way. And then one time I got taquitos and they were super crunchy and messy, and again, could not really eat it politely. So I don't always love food dates as a first date.
See, I had a date about a week ago, and we did a food date, but it was like we cooked together. We cooked picadillo. It's one of my mother's recipe. So I decided to cook it for her, and we made picadillo tacos. And so basically I got all the ingredients. She came to my place. I made sure to clean the house, like deep clean the house.
Okay, yes, cooking dates. Okay, those are fun. But going out to a restaurant, another pressure is like, if she's not sure how she feels about you and the guy spends a lot of money on it, then she'll feel bad, So I was always stressed by dinner dates. But yeah, making food I think is super fun.
It's fun, yeah.
Because you can kind of break the
and
ice.
If you're really good at a certain dish, you can be like, oh yeah, I'm an expert. I'm a great chef. Which
impress them
I'm
a
not.
little.
But I know a couple good dishes that I can, on repertoire that I can, I'm like 5-star right there.
Yeah, well, one of the funnest first dates I've ever been on is like going to fairs, and those fairs that have those like carnival games and stuff like that, where you can like win a prize and your date comes home with this huge teddy bear or something like that. I feel like that's so romantic, and
I feel like it'd be cheaper to buy the teddy bear than all the times.
Absolutely.
The games are rigged, right?
It's a scam, but it's a romantic scam that you don't mind buying into. Yeah. And then I feel like at that time you guys are walking around, you can see if each other have any fears or anything like that, of going on roller coasters, or you can just walk around and talk. I feel like it's a good atmosphere. It's like out in the public, but you still have that intimate session or conversation.
Yeah, I feel like doing something that the other person is comfortable doing is really important. I go to the rock gym a lot, and I see people go on first dates. They're like, the guy like loves rock climbing, and he brings like this girl who's never been rock climbing before, and if she's like a go-getter and like she wants to do it and she doesn't care if she like falls or whatever, then that's good and it would be fun. But I think just making sure that the person's comfortable, because I think if like I had never done it before and someone took me to do like this somewhat extreme sport, I would be like, okay, like I feel kind of embarrassed because I can't keep up with you and stuff. So I don't know, just seeing what they're interested in and what they feel comfortable doing is always good to keep in mind.
I think also like on first dates, like what about topic matter? Like, what do you talk about? Like, how deep can you go? Or like, what do you just talk about like shallow things and like, oh, how's the weather? Or like, I don't know. Like, I always like, whenever I'm not sure what to talk about, I use the Ford method, which stands for family, occupation, recreation, dreams, and desires. And it kind of like, from those topics, you can ask other questions and then dig deeper. And then if you both like something, connect on that. But like, how deep do you think it should be on the first date? Like, oh, what is your stance on this thing?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on who you're on the date with, because maybe you've already gotten to know each other in class, or maybe you work together, so you kind of already know the surface level, and so you can go a little bit deeper once it's like an official date. But if it's like, oh, you don't really know the person at all yet, and that's what the date is for, then I kind of like the Ford method of just kind of giving them a nice basis of who you are so that you can find connections.
Yeah, I feel like it totally just depends on the two people, because I know people that have gone on a first date and they're just like, yes, like this is the person for me, and then it works out and they get married. You just kind of have to read the room, like read the situation.
Okay, before we end, let's give some last minute advice. I know we're all in different stages of dating, so maybe everyone just share something that they've learned, some last dating advice for our audience and listeners.
I want to say keep it simple and stay real to who you are and to that person. Don't let them be surprised 3 months later that feeling that you're a different person and you have a different perspective and goals and values and morals in life. Just be really upfront with them, and then hope they are really upfront and truthful to you.
Yeah, good. I would say just like chill out, just like let the dating happen. And I know it can be so stressful, and you're wondering like, do they like me? Do I even like them? And we get really in our heads about it. But I think just remembering to be yourself with the person, and if they don't like you, then that's their problem, and to just, I don't know, keep it simple and fun and light, and then, you know, once the relationship gets more serious, then get more serious about it. But when it just comes to going on dates, just have fun.
I would say, like, people always say put your best foot forward. I would say put your normal foot forward, because I feel like if you just like a lot of people try to like fake the, like, be the best version of themselves, but like it's a fake version, and they walk on eggshells, and they're not honest with the person that they like. I say just be honest, keep communication open. If they don't like you and for who you are and for the things you believe or whatever, you know, it's great because you can just move on and you waste less time, in my opinion, if you're just honest and candid. Like, don't be rude, but like be honest.
Yeah, I think a lot of people too with dating are trying to find the one or their soulmate. And so something that I think I've learned is that you don't need to put so much pressure on finding the one. Like, there's really only one person out there for you, but really love is a choice. And as you get to know someone and find that you really get along, then you can choose to be with them. And it's really, that's as simple as dating can be, is choosing. And actually, I just recently read a quote by President Ballard, and he said that, and I was like, no way. Yeah. So I'm going to read it.
What matters most?
Yeah, what matters most?
Yeah, I gave a talk on it.
Yeah. He said, in courtship and marriage, we don't fall in love or fall out of love as though we are objects being moved on a chessboard. We choose to love and sustain one another. So I thought that was great. Good little moral. You've been listening to The Spot, a production of BYU-Idaho Radio. Today's hosts were me, McKenna Davies,
John Villarreal,
Celeste Simmons,
and special guest,
John McSwain.
The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university and are solely the opinions of the hosts. This episode was edited by me, McKenna Davies. Producers were the hosts with supervision by Brandon Isle. Our theme music is Finding Happiness by DJ Quads and The Perpetual Ticking of Time by Artificial Music. To listen to more episodes of The Spot, like and follow us on social media or visit our website, byui.edu/radio, and click podcasts. Be sure to subscribe to the BYU-Idaho Radio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcasts. And also leave a review of the show and leave a comment on what we should talk about next.